stay here till you find another job.
Hey, you're going to be late for your first day of work, Ted.
What is this rush all of a sudden?
I have to do it this way. Hey, listen, if you care about me as much as you say you do, then you'll trust me and you won't start a fight.
Haley, 2 weeks ago, I was begging you to find another job so you could get out of this house, but you gave me 20,000 reasons why you couldn't. Now tell me, what has changed?
I can't talk about it now. Not when I know that you're going to be going right out the door to work.
Oh, you think I'm just going to walk out of here knowing that you're going to leave and I'm never going to see you again?
Ted, I'll let you know where I am. I can take care of myself. I'll be fine.
Are you going to move in with that guy? Is that what the secrecy is all about?
What guy?
The one whose apartment I followed you to.
Angel?
Yes.
Of course not. Ted, that really hurts me to think that you would even think something like that.
What am I supposed to think? You are not telling me a thing. Did you take the job at the Orient Express that I've been trying to get you?
No. Well, I have a few other jobs lined up.
Oh, now, wait a minute. Do you have any money? I cannot believe you're just going to take off and you have no idea where you're going to stay.
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
All right. Haley, I got to go. Promise me that you're going to meet me at the station later on today.
I don't think I can, Ted. I have to go out and...
Wait. It's my first day as a teacher. You got to be there for some support. Please.
Okay. I'll be...
You promise?
I promise. I want
okay,
to...
no. I got to go. I'll see you at the station.
Damn it, C.C. Capwell.
Were you listening?
He fired you, didn't he? Why,
He didn't fire me. I quit.
Quit? Why?
I don't have to answer to you anymore, Gina. I don't want you in my life ever again.
Haley.
I mean it.
Why are you talking to me like this? I've never done anything bad to you. You wouldn't even know Ted Capwell if it weren't for me.
And because of you, I'm terrified every day that he's going to find out you're my aunt.
Haley, he doesn't have to find out anything. Why won't you give me a chance? Now that Cece isn't going to testify against me, and Kirk isn't running my life anymore, I can start all over again. You and I can become closer than ever. After all, you're my brother's little girl, and I do love you. So give me a chance to prove to you I'm not the awful person Kirk made me out to be.
I can't believe anything you tell me anymore, Gina.
Don't say that.
I know what you are now.
Don't start hating me like everybody else.
I don't hate you, Gina. I'm afraid of you.
Did something happen this morning to upset her?
I told her she was getting a roommate today. She didn't react well.
Kelly, look at me, please. I know you want to get well, but to do that, you're going to have to cooperate with the people who are trying to help you. We believe that making friends is an important step towards health. That's why we insist that all of our guests have roommates. Now, you wouldn't want to be treated any differently from the others, would you? Another step that's essential for you to regain your health is to take your medication. You do want to get well, don't you, Kelly? That's a good girl. Now, why don't you rest?
I don't know. Maybe it isn't such a bad thing after all.
What isn't?
Maybe he lost the fight to ban the video during the trial. Mason's half in love with his own eloquence. Maybe if he gets carried away and overdoes it in front of the jury, he'll turn them off altogether.
I can't believe I'm in this courtroom right now on trial for Madeline's murder. It's like a nightmare, some grotesque joke.
Nobody's laughing, David. We take cold-blooded murder pretty seriously around here.
You're not in front of the television audience yet, Mason.
You know, I just thought I'd give you one last chance to enter a plea of guilty before the judge throws out the first ball.
Why don't you head on back to left field where you came from?
It's just as well. My opening remarks are brilliant. I'd hate to have to scrap them. You should take notes. Never hear yourself described more accurately.
All rise.
The Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the City and County of Santa Barbara, is now in session. The people of the State of California plaintiff versus David Nelson Laurent, defendant. Action number 48788. David Nelson Laurent is accused by the people by this information of a crime of felony committed at the...
I can't go in that courtroom with the man who killed my sister, Pearl. I'm afraid of him.
Willfully and with...
Laurent can't hurt you.
Pearl, what if he's found innocent somehow? I'm afraid of what he might do to me.
I don't understand what happened to her other roommate.
All I know is the orderly said Alice became violent, almost hysterical.
Kelly, go to the conference room, please. Well, something our roommate said must have triggered it. Well, I have Hennessy in isolation and Alice here, but we'll have to watch her very closely for more signs that she might be dangerous to herself or to others.
That patient shouldn't be roaming the halls. I'd better check on him.
Nurse, that patient is exactly where I want him to be.
I don't understand that.
His name is Dr. Justin Moore, and he thinks I don't know that he sneaked into the hospital.
Sneak in?
However, I have every intention of making his visit with us a truly memorable one.
My job is to present you with the facts in this case, the physical evidence and the testimony that will help you to arrive at your verdict. Well, they're easily understood. Fact, Madeleine Laurent died at the hands of another. She died a slow, horrible death. The medical examiner will testify to that. Fact, the accused, her husband, repeatedly lied to cover up his presence at the scene of the crime at the very hour of the assault on her. The state will prove that Mr. Laurent made 2 visits to that bungalow, one the day before the murder and a second unexpected one on the fatal day. Fact, Madeleine Laurent was planning to divorce her husband, thereby excluding him from the possibility of inheriting her substantial estate, an estate which conservative estimates put in the tens of millions. Now, there are other truths in this case that only Madeleine could tell us of, were she alive today. What her real feelings were for this man to whom she was married but planning to divorce. What she thought when she looked up and saw him returning unexpectedly to the bungalow that day. Did she have any suspicion of what was on his mind, of what his intentions were? That this man with whom she had shared her life, whom she had helped and supported emotionally, socially, and financially, was about to bludgeon her with a hammer and leave her in that bungalow to die. That when he finally ran out of there, it would be with her blood on his hands. What must have flashed through her mind the moment she realized what his intentions were? Well, she must have been struck with terror. She must have pleaded with him not to hurt her, reminded him of the love that he once had for her, even offered him money in return for her life, but he wouldn't listen, because he had come there knowing what he wanted to do, and not even the sight of his beautiful young wife begging for her life was enough to stop him. Now, he'd come there knowing what he wanted, and what he wanted was everything that belonged to her, and that is as much the truth in this case as any of the physical evidence you'll be presented with. I ask you to look at this man. See him with Madeleine's eyes as she saw him on that day, the moment before her life ended. See him with her eyes, and justice will be served. Disraeli said that justice is truth in action. I believe that when you hear the facts that will come forth during the course of this trial, you will discover the truth. And that will lead you to decide beyond a reasonable doubt and to a moral certainty that David Laurent is guilty of murder in the first degree. Thank you for your attention.
There'll be a 10-minute recess.
Stop haggling about the case, huh? Oh, boy, you really look tired. Why don't you try to take a nappy?
I can't take a nap right now. Pearl, I keep having these really bad dreams about David and Madeline. I keep seeing David in the bungalow with the hammer. Pearl, I'm scared.
Hey, repeat after me. My main man, Pearl, has never led me astray. When he says that he's gonna look out for me and make sure that no harm ever comes to me, I know he ain't just whistling Dixie through his head. Now, press the rewind and let's hear it back again.
Не помню точно.
Можешь, в общем.
Мне не о чем беспокоиться, потому что ты всегда рядом.
Не забывай об этом.
Спасибо.
К сожалению, мне надо лететь обратно в суд.
Хорошо, если надо.
Не хочу, но надо. Отдохни и постарайся заснуть. Это приказ.
Алло?
Мне нужна Кортни Кэпвелл.
Я Кортни.
Я знаю, кто убил вашу сестру. Он хотел денег.
Кто? Дэвид? Это Дэвид?
Если хотите знать, кто он, приходите в отель Клеймонт Армс, комната 314.
Снова ты? Келли, я не могу так оставить тебя. Хорошо, что те, кто дорог мне, не знают, что мы родственники. А ты и это собираешься разрушить. Келли, я никогда не желала тебе.
All I ever really wanted was the best for you. We're family.
Don't say it. Don't you dare say that. Family, I'll tell you what family means to you. Lying to people. Cheating, stealing from them, and if you don't get what you want, you end up killing them.
Look at what the Capwells have tried to do to me.
Gina, if they've done anything to you, you deserve it.
You're only saying that because you're angry. Once you get a chance to think about it.
Not anymore. You are a stranger to me now. I am so sorry I came to Santa Barbara, and I feel foolish to think that you can be my friend and help me just because you're...
Hello, Ted.
Ted, is it time for me to be at the studio?
No, not at all. I just had to come back and pick up my clipboard. What the heck are you doing here, Gina?
I just came by to see how poor Kelly was doing, and Miss Benson wasn't able to tell me very much. She couldn't help me.
I don't think anybody can help you. And this family business, Gina, is none of your business anymore, so I think it's best you leave right now.
Ed, I'm surprised at you. I can't believe you couldn't find it in your heart to be more charitable with me. Right? But I just want you to know one thing. I'm not the same person that did all those terrible things to you and caused your family so much pain. I've changed.
Well, I'm glad for your sake. Now, please leave.
All right. I'm going. I understand. Bye.
Kelly? Do you know me?
I'm not sure. Maybe.
Give it time, it'll come back. Your pupils aren't dilated. Did you take your medication today? Good for you, you're learning to beat the system. How do you feel?
I don't like it here.
Остановись, Элис! Санитары! Санитары, сюда! Быстрее! Я за доктором! Изолируйте ее! Я сейчас приду.
Келли, Роллингс не должен меня видеть. Поговорим позже.
Келли, иди в холл, за тобой придут. Элис, отдай мне вилку. Элис, мы не обидим тебя. Тебе станет легче. Мы хотим помочь тебе, Элис.
Не принимай таблетки, Келли. Только притворись.
Вы Шейла Карлайл?
Да. Что вам угодно?
Значит, Мадлен была права насчет вас и Дэвида.
Кто вы, черт возьми?
Сестра Мадлен.
I thought Dr. Rollins told you to wait in the art room. Well, now that you're here, I suppose you can stay. But Henry and I have to make a little search of the room first, just to make sure that Alice didn't hide anything else that could be used as a weapon in here. Don't miss anything, Henry.
Facts and truth. The prosecution bends and twists those words for his own purposes. He seems to think that an emotional appeal to get you to identify with the victim will somehow close your minds to the real lack of evidence against the defendant, David Laurent. Far from leading you to the truth, Mr. Capwell's tactic is to use this smokescreen of melodrama to divert you from it. I'm sorry, but I refuse to preside over this melodrama. This is going to be a reasoned trial. I will appeal to your intelligence and your sense of justice, rather than inflame your imagination. And I have to tell you, I am confident that you, the jury, will acquit my client for one simple reason. He did not kill his wife. He didn't come to Santa Barbara to kill her. He came to persuade her to give their marriage another try. Because he loved her. He loved Madeline. And not her money. Now, the special prosecutor will try to paint this picture of David as being this penniless adventurer who was always and only after his wife's fortune. This is a complete misrepresentation. Mr. Laurent has been a very successful businessman. He loved his work, and he was good at it. He was creative, he was enterprising, he was daring. And yes, he sometimes took risks, which occasionally set him back with temporary reverses. Happens to the best of us. Now, his wife, Madeline, helped him out on one particular occasion by lending him some money for one particular enterprise. But he was never dependent on his wife for a living. If he had walked out of that marriage penniless, he would have his choice of any number of high-powered, high-paying jobs to choose from. Now, I will bring in witnesses to testify that whatever Madeline Capwell Laurent contributed to the marriage financially, Mr. Laurent more than made up for by his business expertise. Madeline wasn't interested in business. She gladly left the exhilaration and the headache of it to her husband because theirs was an equal partnership in value, both given and received. All right, let's get back to these facts that Mr. Capwell seems to think will prove beyond a reasonable doubt my client's guilt. No, wait a minute. I'm going to try a different tact. I'm going to tell you what it will not prove. It will not prove that David came to Santa Barbara to kill his wife. It will not prove that he was there in the bungalow at the time of the attack. And above all, there is no evidence. The evidence will not show that there was any real motive. So you see, the state's motive for murder is no motive at all. I'd like you to do something for me, if you will. I would like you to look once again at David Laurent. But this time with no one's eyes but your own. Please don't cloud your vision with Mr. Capwell's fantasies, because we are here to search for the real truth. And the real truth can only be assessed by the actual evidence. Or the lack of in this particular case. Madeline was indeed a tragic victim. But the man that you're looking at is a victim, too. Not only has he suffered the loss of his wife, but he's suffered the pain of being accused of her death. He has an added burden. He's been cast out of a family that he's recently been made part of. You see, the Capwells have turned on David. They've pitted their wealth, their influence, and their powerful connections against him. In fact, in their eyes, he's already been found guilty, without benefit of a trial. They've even exercised their influence right here in this courtroom. He is on Capwell turf, and they are determined that he will be convicted as a murderer. Now, there's probably one last question nagging at your mind. If David was such a decent, devoted, loving husband, why did she want to divorce him? Believe me, that's a perfectly human, natural question to ask. But one that mustn't be answered easily. There were two people involved in this marriage. If things went wrong, two people are responsible. Madeline was a capable, a bright, and a very attractive woman. But she was also a complex, difficult, and by all accounts, a controversial character. Many, many people had a negative reaction to Madeline. In fact, she made many enemies. I intend to prove that someone else besides her husband could have killed Madeline. I will indeed prove that someone else had the means, the motive, and the opportunity to kill her. Now, you alone can bring that person to justice. But first, justice needs to be done right here in this courtroom. Now, you can't bring Madeline back to life. And you certainly can't compensate her husband his loss and his pain. But you can restore to an innocent man just some measure of a human, normal life. You can bring him justice by bringing in a verdict of not guilty. Thank you.
Дэвид очень любил вашу сестру. Он не мог убить ее и никогда не обманывал, по крайней мере, со мной. Он отличный парень. Если бы он был настойчивый, я бы не устояла. Но между нами ничего не было. Уверяю вас. А Мадлен думала, что было. Напрасно. Она его плохо знала. Зачем вы в Санта-Барбаре? По делу? Как вы нашли меня? Неважно. Ну и ладно. Мне надо одеться. Хорошо. Нет, останьтесь. Покончим с этим раз и навсегда. Согласна. Хорошо. Дорогой Дэвид, сожги, когда прочтешь. Ты не представляешь, как я скучаю по тебе, по твоим рукам ночью, по твоим поцелуям по утрам.
Your sign on?
Yeah.
I can't believe you're writing it out. Are you afraid you'll forget your own name?
As a matter of fact, yes. So please, just leave me alone. In fact, why don't you just go on home and listen to it on the radio, please?
If it slipped what remains of your mind, I still work here, even if I'm not on the radio. Besides, I wouldn't miss your debut.
You want to learn something, huh? Well, I'm flattered.
Don't be. I'm sure you're gonna hyperventilate. And I'll be there to step in without missing a beat.
Hi, everybody. This is Ted Capwell, and this is Jane Wilson on KUSB, your all-campus radio with great platter and great patter. I'm not giving up, see. If you mess up, I'm the first one in line.
Jane, you should have been first in line. I mean, you did have a much better audition than myself.
You are a liar.
You don't believe me?
Oh, sure I believe it. But I just don't believe you do. Look, be warned. I will not rest until this station has as many women as men.
Good. I'm glad. You know, I've got a friend that's coming over here later on today. In fact, you met her. She was over here yesterday with me. She'd be perfect for the secretarial job.
Oh, is she your girlfriend?
No, she's just a friend who needs a job.
Tell her she better apply someplace else. The station manager's all but promised me he's going to hire a man. My conscience will not stand aside and let another woman be turned into a slave.
Эй, милочка, не пришьешь ли мне пуговиц?
Джейн, по-моему, это немного унизительно для женщины признавать, что их можно превратить в рабынь. Это зависит от их позиции.
Женщины расположены к этому. Их надо защищать. Они самих себя защитить не могут. Так какая позиция у твоей подружки?
Она не то чтобы агрессивна, нет. Она скромная, но она не допустит, чтобы ею помыкали. У нее есть характер.
Она студентка?
Сейчас нет.
А у нее есть опыт работы секретаршей?
Нет, но у нее была работа.
В конторе, в магазине?
Нет, она недавно в городе взялась за первую попавшуюся работу.
Так что она делает?
Она домохозяйка.
У кого?
У меня.
У тебя?
Да.
Так ты хочешь протащить в секретарше свою горничную? Интересно.
Да.
And would you say, Inspector Castillo, that it was the accused's special brand of cigarettes found at the scene of the crime that led you to suspect that he might be something other than a devoted, bereaved husband?
Objection, Your Honor. There's not a shred of evidence that my client has been anything other than a once devoted, now bereaved husband. Just because Mr. Capwell says it's true doesn't make it so.
Objection sustained. Counsel, let's not get off on the wrong footing with this witness.
Yes, Your Honor. Inspector Castillo, when you confronted the accused with this evidence, did he then admit that he had been in Santa Barbara and in that bungalow?
No, he continued to deny it.
Well, when did he finally change his story?
When I told him I had an eyewitness who claimed to have seen him in town the day before his wife died.
Mm-hmm. And this was only the first in a whole string of lies that he told you, was it not?
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel is characterizing testimony that's already elicited. He's also anticipating the witness's future remarks. We ask the court to admonish Mr. Capwell to refrain from any more of these leading, suggestive, and otherwise prejudicial remarks.
Mr. Capwell, you're out of order.
I'll withdraw the question, Your Honor. Inspector Castillo, did you have any further conversations with Mr. Laurent regarding his wife's death?
Yes, I did.
And during the course of these, did any other inconsistencies turn up?
Yes.
Would you tell us what they were?
Well, he stated at the beginning that he had no idea his wife wanted a divorce. Then he said that she had indeed told him she wanted one when he first came to town.
Uh-huh. Go on.
Well, he told me then that he'd gone back east until he was notified of the crime. He claimed he'd been working at home with the phone off the hook and checking with his secretary periodically. Later, he admitted that he'd actually flown back to Santa Barbara and was in town the day Mrs. Laurent was attacked.
Anything else?
Yes, I found a pair of cufflinks in his suitcase. And since all of his shirts had buttons, I asked him if he was missing a shirt. He denied that. It was only later, after traces of his wife's blood and tissue were found on those cufflinks, that he decided to tell us where to find the shirt he had been wearing that day. It was exactly where he said it would be.
And what condition was the shirt in?
There was blood on it. It was the same type as Madeline Lorentz.
Quiet.
Is this the shirt and cufflinks that you found?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would like to submit this as Exhibits 13 and 14, respectively. Inspector Castillo, did David Laurent tell you why there was blood on his shirt?
Well, he told me he'd found his wife lying on the floor, bleeding, that he tried to revive her, that he believed she was dead, and then he ran out.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least the part about running out can be substantiated. I will produce an eyewitness who will testify that he saw the accused fleeing the scene of the crime only moments after the medical examiner estimates that Madeline suffered brain damage.
I object to the use of the word fleeing. The prosecutor is again coloring the evidence in advance of the jury hearing it. Also, the medical examiner only estimated the time of the attack. So for the counsel to say that my client left moments after is once again misleading and once again prejudicial.
Mr. Capwell, you're out of order.
I apologize, Your Honor. I'll refrain from discussing my eyewitness until after I've called them to the stand. One last question, Inspector Castillo. In your professional opinion, were David Laurent's actions those of a guilty man?
Objection.
Now, I've warned you, Mr. Capwell.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. It won't happen again. I have no further questions for this witness.
Your examination, Miss Wainwright.
Dr. Rollins isn't going to like this at all, Kelly.
Do you have to tell me?
Tell me what? What's going on?
We found these while we were
В комнате Келли спрятала.
No wonder. Kelly, I am very disappointed in you. I'd hoped that I'd gotten through to you in our private session, but obviously I didn't. And that's a shame, because I was just going to tell you,
что к тебе посетитель.
but I'm
Но
afraid
теперь это
it would
вряд ли
not be
возможно.
Пожалуйста. Разрешите. Пожалуйста.
I might consider it,
При
but only
условии,
if you
что ты
agree to
примешь
take your
лекарство.
medication.
Хорошо, давайте. Давайте.
No.
Нет.
I'm afraid I
Не в
can't trust you with
таблетках.
pills. I'm going to have to give
Я
you a
сделаю
shot.
укол.
Nurse, go to
Сестра,
the waiting room and bring
приведите
Miss Capwell
посетителя,
to the
мисс Кэпфелл.
Да, доктор.
This is going to
Не
hurt.
бойся,
So relax.
расслабься.
It's going to make you
Тебе
feel
станет
better.
легче, я обещаю.
Much
Спокойнее.
less anxious. Well, I'm sure it's going to be
Будет очень
good to see a
приятно
familiar
увидеть
face,
знакомое лицо.
and perhaps this visitor will
Может
be
быть,
able to
этот
reach you, although
посетитель найдет
your
с тобой
father and the others
контакт.
who come to see you haven't fared so
Хотя
well.
отцу и
Please come in
другим
now.
это
Kelly
не
can see you,
удавалось.
Mrs. Capwell.
All right, let's get back to the shirt that was found. Inspector, could you tell us again how Mr. Laurent described the events that led up to his hiding it?
He said he found his wife laying on the floor with blood all around her. And he tried to help her, but he couldn't. When he realized there was blood on his own shirt, he panicked, he said, afraid that someone would walk in, see him there, jump to the conclusion that he had killed his wife. He described to me how he ran out to his car and started driving, how he stopped at a breakwater and hid the shirt, put on a fresh one that was in his briefcase, I believe. And then he said he went to the airport.
I see. Did the police recover any evidence, or has there been any testimony that disproves any part of Mr. Laurent's description of what happened?
No.
No! Oh! So in other words, there's nothing that contradicts or makes his attempt of what happened impossible.
No.
Thank you. Inspector, could you tell us about the arrest that was made when Mrs. Laurent was found?
The Capwell chauffeur who drove her to the bungalow was discovered kneeling next to the body by the maid.
Was there any other evidence against him?
He'd had a couple of public run-ins with Mrs. Laurent.
Eventually, though, you released him.
Yes, there was not enough evidence to make the charge stick, and then, of course, the case against the accused began to gel.
But you did make a mistake in arresting him.
Well, I suppose you could call it a mistake.
It's nice to know that the police aren't afraid of admitting their mistakes. No further questions at this time. And thank you.
Any questions, Counselor?
Yes, Your Honor.
May proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Inspector Castillo, did David Laurent ever once come forward of his own accord to tell you that he had been lying and that he wanted to tell the truth?
No.
And did he ever voluntarily change or correct any part of his story until he was forced to do so because he had been caught in a lie?
No, he did not.
That's all for now. Thank you, Inspector.
Any complaining phone calls yet, dear?
I wouldn't know. Your friend's here.
Haley? Where's she?
She was looking a little helpless, so the station manager took her in hand. He's giving her the grand tour. Now, you know all the places in the station that are considered no man's land. The Xerox room, the coffee machine, the file cabinet.
Wait. Are you saying she got the job at...
Ask for yourself.
Hey, guess what? I walked in, station manager came up to me and asked me if I wanted a job.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, hey, what's going on here? I didn't even ask how you doing.
Well, could be worse.
Listen, we'll talk a little later, okay?
Okay.
Right now I have to go learn how to make coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, are you Jane? The station manager said that you could help me.
You can wait for me in the main office. I'll be there in a minute.
Хорошо. Пока.
Пока.
У тебя счастливый день, мистер Кэппл. Ты делаешь мою работу и имеешь личную прислугу.
Джейн, перестань.
Если тебя интересует мнение слушателей, лучше работай. Песня кончилась.
О, Господи.
Я бы и сама додумалась, но лучше, если вы поможете.
Зря ждали, я не варю кофе.
Извините, я подумала...
Я не печатаю, не отвечаю на звонки, не пришиваю пуговиц. Вы-то, вероятно, все это проделывали?
Я чем-то...
Я была против того, чтобы брали вас. Я бы предпочла мужчину на этой должности.
Мы тоже можем подружиться.
Вряд ли. Мои друзья без предрассудков. Кстати, это то, что отличает нас от Теда Кэпрона.
Как она сейчас?
Она подавлена и сбита с толку. Она чувствует вину за смерть Дилана Хартли.
Думаете, если докажут, что это была самооборона, или что Дилан умер при других обстоятельствах, ей станет легче?
Не совсем. Ее болезнь гораздо сложнее. Она воспринимает реальность лишь с одной стороны.
Вы поможете ей?
Постараюсь вылечить ее своим методом. И как можно скорее.
Я могу ее увидеть?
Да.
Келли, ты узнаешь меня? Это я, Джина. Посмотри на меня, Келли. Последний раз мы были вместе в отеле Кэпвелла. Ты помнишь Дилана? Пистолет. Я подняла его с пола, а потом потеряла, когда попала в аварию на машине Иды. Ты, наверное, и не знаешь ничего. Так вот, я вернулась и нашла его. Ты что-нибудь помнишь о той ночи? Келли, я знаю, ты поправишься. Но если тебя будут судить за убийство Дилана, я буду свидетелем, обещаю. А пока мне надо разобраться со своими делами. Иначе я не смогу помочь тебе. Врач сказал, что правда для тебя не имеет значения. Мне надо подумать, как лучше использовать видеопленку и пистолет. А как вернуть дом и сына, я уже знаю. Надеюсь, на сей раз мне повезет. Здесь не так уж и плохо, а? Доктор Роулинс думает, что сможет помочь тебе. А пока ты больна, мои сведения бесполезны. Я хочу, чтобы ты поправилась. Чем скорее будет суд, тем скорее я верну то, что хочу тебе. Я помогу тебе, Келли. Верь мне.
Ну что, Кортни, твоя семейка будет рада увидеть меня за решеткой.
Мейсон.
Тебе бы понравилась сегодняшняя процедура.
Мейсон, ты нашел мотив убийства Мадлен?
Ты спрашиваешь из любопытства или что-то знаешь?
Я только что беседовала с мотивом Дэвида. Она брюнетка. Какое-то время у них был роман. Я видела доказательства этого.
Было так сложно добраться сюда, много машин. Келли, если ты притворяешься, как я сказал, то можно сделать перерыв. Мы одни. Келли, ты выпила и... Черт! Не уходи, пожалуйста. Это я, Джастин. Постарайся остаться здесь, Келли. Ты должна бороться. Мы должны выработать свою стратегию. Иначе они оставят тебя тут навсегда. Келли.
Я помню.
Конечно. Ты помнишь, я был там в коридоре. Келли, не исчезай. Я тебя очень прошу. Так не пойдет. Келли, я должен вытащить тебя отсюда. Я должен это сделать.